This is the Strength Matters podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe and review. We really appreciate all your comments and feedback. With me, as always, is my co-host, James Breese. And our guest today is a digital strategist and entrepreneur with expertise in SEO, advertising, integrated marketing, and web design. He began his journey at St. Clair College, specializing in advertising and marketing communications management, and as head of digital operations at Juicebox Advertising while still a student, which is pretty impressive. Where he honed his skills in website building, design, and SEO. Transitioning into the professional landscape, he made notable contributions as head of digital operations at the Plaid Zebra, which I think has got an awesome name, a lifestyle magazine where he played a pivotal role in creating the online publication, managing content marketing and website design. In 2018, he founded HeyTony, a growth ad agency where he serves as digital strategist, focusing on improving customer acquisition through SEO analytics and media buying, and is widely recognized as a thought leader in the industry, if he does say so himself, I imagine. It is a pleasure to introduce Matt Diamante. Matt, welcome to the Strength Matters podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. Just hearing my bio kind of read back to me, I was like, oh yeah, like I did all that stuff. And I just wanted to touch on one thing that you said. First of all, you got the name of the program I took in college correct. It's a very long name. And I even mess it up myself sometimes. And then the next thing was the Juicebox Advertising. That was actually, so a quick story about that. I was in third year, and 3 out of 3 years, the third year. And I was talking to some friends in my program, and I was like, hey guys, there's a lot of shitty ads around the city here. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, that could be us. We could be making those ads. And then I was basically like,
wait, we could be doing shitty ads. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that could be us. Like people could be paying us to do that. So I think a group of 5 or 6 of us kind of started an agency called Juicebox Advertising, which terrible name in hindsight. But we started that, and we did end up doing it. Like we didn't get paid for anything, but we did like a couple pro bono things for like not-for-profits and stuff like that, which was really cool. And that was kind of the start of, hey, we could just do this on our own, which was really, really fun. And then touching on the Plaid Zebra, actually me and a couple other guys convinced some investors. I don't know how or why, we were young and dumb, and we just were like, yeah, I guess we could ask people for money to start a publication, which we ended up growing to like 4 million people a month, which was insane.
What? Wow. Where did you come up with the name Plaid Zebra, or Zebra, as you say? Because that's a great name.
Yeah, so you asked me earlier where the name HeyTony came from. So there's a very creative way, and it always tends to happen while I'm walking. So we were walking for the Plaid Zebra. We were walking, and we had been trying to come up with a name for like 2 days, like notebooks, just like so many, different names and like ideas. And we're like, no, that's taken. That domain's taken. There's already a big business called that, this, that, whatever. And so we're walking, we're like, let's just go to McDonald's. We're going to grab a coffee or something to eat. And we're walking there. And I was like, we already kind of had the, let's do something with an animal. Like there was bored panda and all this kind of stuff. Like something with an animal kind of works. And we were walking, and I was like, I saw this guy wearing like a flannel plaid jacket. It was like, middle of summer or whatever. I don't know why he's wearing it. It's kind of warm. But anyway, so he's raking his leaves, and we're walking by, and I'm like, guys, the flannel zebra. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the flannel zebra. And he's like, that's Plaid. You mean the Plaid Zebra? I'm like, yeah, that's the name. And we were like, if we're still thinking about it, by the time we get back, we'll see if it's taken, and we'll go from there. And it wasn't taken. The plaidzebra.com wasn't taken, but somebody owned plaidzebra.com. And nobody would sell it to us, even though they didn't use the domain. Nobody would give us the Twitter/X handle for it, even though they didn't use it, which was very annoying. But that's how the name came about. Walking.
Love it. James, I think we need to take some of that tactic for our some of our programs. We need to go for a walk.
Go for a walk.
Exactly. We can't say we can go to McDonald's as a health and fitness company, of course.
Yeah. I mean, the coffee's good.
Organic food. The coffee is good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to an organic food store or something like that, and people watch. Come up with program names.
But it's funny how, like, because names, let's take Strength Matters as an example. So before Strength Matters, we were a company called Kettlebell Fever. We're specializing in doing e-commerce, selling kettlebells all over Europe. We brought them into the UK, shipping around, selling tons of the stuff, every month. And then we sold some t-shirts, but they weren't selling that well. So I remember we put a T-shirt with Kettlebell Fever's "Strength Matters" at the bottom. That we sold more of those T-shirts in a week than we had done the whole previous year. And when we just asked people, "Why do you want this? Why do you want this T-shirt?" Because we love the word "Strength Matters." It had some crazy rhino picture with like "Strength Matters" on the back of it to go with it. He goes, "We love the name Strength Matters," and I was like, "Aha, that's what we're going to do with it." So we had to. We then, well, we had to haggle with a domain name. The guy who had strengthmatters.com wasn't using that, so we had to haggle for that. We got it in the end, and then here we are 10 years later. So yeah, it's funny how names come for companies, right?
It's also so annoying, people just sitting on domains. Like I was talking to a guy recently, I can't say what the domain was or what it does, like what the website is, but he told me millions of dollars for a domain, and I was like, holy, like that is insane, because people just buy them and sit on them, right? They don't do anything.
That's crazy. Well, it's and what's he going to do with it? Is he trying to sell it, or is he going to keep it for his own business, or what's the?
I can't say anything else, but yeah, it was wild. I was like, I've never met somebody, first of all, who had that kind of money, and second of all, somebody who paid that much for a domain. Like, it's crazy.
Absolutely. So, Matt, or Tony, which we'll see which one we call you. Tell us a little bit more, about your backstory then, and how you came to found HeyTony.
Yeah. So even when I was in college, I was always kind of freelancing. I always had a client, and I was always like, I need to come up with some kind of scheme to make money. And I was like, talking to a friend of mine, and he's like, these schemes that you're talking about just sound like legitimate business ideas. And he's like, I guess you're just like, you're a businessman, like you just want to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, yeah, I think that's it. They're not schemes. They're like, legit business ideas. So I at the time when I was in college, I had a client. They were like a local bin rental company, and they didn't have a website, and it's the only cold call that I've made to date myself. They had their number on the side of the bin, and they were like I called them up, and I was like, hey, I noticed you guys don't have a website. I'm a student at St. Clair College. I'd love to help you out for really cheap, kind of cut my teeth kind of thing. And they were like, oh no, we don't need a website. We don't need a website, all this stuff. 3 weeks later, they call me back, and the guy's like, my wife says we need a website, so we're going to hire you. And I was like, smart woman. So their bin rental company I took from this, and mind you, this is my first client. I'm still like at the time trying to figure out WordPress, and this is 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I don't know, a long time ago. And I basically built them like a 5-page website, like nothing crazy, and it was all about their bins and bin rentals, and they got ranking, I think, for like 150 keywords, like in the first top 3 positions. And over the next year, I watched their business go from like, they had like 10 bins for rent to, and like when I say bin rentals, I mean the stuff you have at like construction sites, or if you're doing like a home reno, like those big ones.
Skips, we call them in the UK.
Skips. Yeah. Skip rentals. So yeah, they went from 10 skips to, I think now they have like 120. Like it was, and that happened within like a very short period of time. From 1 truck to 2 or 3, like it was really crazy. And I always kind of had them as a client slash, they paid me like $500 to do all this work, which like at the time I was like, I am robbing these guys, like lock me up, put me in jail. Like I'm stealing money from them. Cause I'm like, I made $500 out of literally nothing. Like what, all the work that I did doesn't exist physically in the world, which is another big hurdle to get over as a digital marketer. Like nothing you actually create exists until you like convert it into money, and then you buy something with that money. So I always kind of had that client. And then I did a couple internships at like traditional media companies or agencies. And I was like, really isn't for me. I left that. I actually went to work in film for a while, just as like a production assistant, like, 12, 14-hour days, loading trucks up, unloading trucks, driving trucks around, basically doing anything that you needed to do. And then after that, I was like, what do I want to do with my life? I took a trip to Cuba for like a week, and I was like, I have nothing lined up after this. What do I do? And that's when I came back, I had met one of the guys from that became an investor in Plaid Zebra. He had another online publication, and I was working there. I asked him, I was like, yeah, like $400 a week, kind of thing. And he was like, that's way too much money. We have $125 a week. And I was like, damn, okay, I'll take it. Like I need money. I need something to do. and that led to the Plaid Zebra, which that's a whole other story. We can save that for another podcast, basically. But there's a lot of ups and downs there. But I always kind of had clients on the side while I was doing all of this stuff full time or whatever. And the Plaid Zebra started winding down in like 2015, 16 kind of thing. Again, that's a whole other story. Running a publication is hard and it requires a lot of capital.
James is
and,
about to show you our magazine, which we
We do a
take a
print
little
magazine.
hiatus on at the moment.
Oh, a
Every
print
month.
magazine.
We do a
Yeah.
print magazine every month.
Dang.
Mhm.
That's dedication. Holy. So yeah, with that, like, I'm sure you know, people, like when you're sending any kind of invoice for ad revenue, or even most businesses, like we did a bunch of stuff with Labatt. Are you guys familiar with Labatt in the UK?
Yeah.
Like the beer
I'm
company?
not.
Big company, yeah.
Yep.
Ah, right.
So,
yep.
and they changed their payment for us. This is with HeyTony now at this time. They changed their net payment period from 30 days to 120 days overnight. And we were like, great. So
Ouch.
now we have to wait 4 months from
Wow.
when we submit our invoice. So once the work's done, we have to wait another 4 months to get paid, which was, cash flow nightmare for a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm kind of going all over the place. I've always had my own
So-
clients. And it wasn't until I believe it was 2016, end of 2016, I got my first like monthly recurring client who was paying me like $1,500 a month. And I was like, I am rich. I can pay my rent. I can eat, I could go out and grab a couple beers, and I was still like, I was so in debt from running that publication. I was just like, I'm not even going to pay my debt. Like I'll do the minimum. I'll do like $50 a month on that. And I had this client, and then eventually I had so many clients because it was all just referrals. I had so many clients that I was like, I need help. Like at the time where I was making like 10 grand a month, and I was like, this is so much money. But then I was like, it's not enough money at the same time. And it's, that's a whole other thing, because as you start making more money, your expenses get higher as a result of doing more business. So anybody listening, if you feel like that creep coming up all the time and you're like, I'm not spending money personally, it's like, it's very real with business owners, because you have to pay for more server costs or employees or this or that. So then, I hired my first employee. That was 2018. And fast forward to now, we're a team of 10. And I'm like, I don't really want to grow the business too much bigger, because it's a lot of work, and the work will suffer if we, take on too many employees and too many clients, and there's not enough quality control and quality, just looking at everything. So yeah, that's kind of the journey. I don't know. What else you guys want to know? Ask me. I'm an open book. Is that good? Do you want to know anything else about
that? Was good.
No, it's great. It's getting an idea into your insights, because I'll show you how I come across you and how you've ended up on the show here today. Because obviously, I said off air that what happened last year was we built a website for one of our coaches, Saskia. She ranked number 1 in a week. I then got into the world of SEO for other people. Whereas I've been in the world of SEO for myself. For those who don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization, otherwise known as ranking higher in Google. Okay, for layman terms, or like Josh. There we go. Keep it simple, Josh. That's what we always say. Keep it simple, Josh.
Hey,
Right?
I know some of these terms now after doing so many podcasts with you.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You have no idea. No, but like that started our journey in like the split with Strength Matters. Now, we were also testing the theory out with Cricket Matters, where we're going to go for health and fitness training for cricket players. Because in the world of health and fitness, it's just abundant. Everyone's doing everything now. There's no one's targeting specific niches. So we wanted a specific niche. It wasn't like it was in 2015, 16 when we were doing online coaching. We had to niche down and get really good at a specific area. And that's what we were playing around with. Cricket Matters launch kind of went well. So we kind of dug around this. So I was going more into SEO, learning SEO for other people, how to manage SEO, what tools I need to use for other people. And lo and behold, one day, your face popped up on Instagram. Like, I think it's about September, October. It's like, this guy's pretty cool. He's like, my words to Josh were like, hey, he's making SEO easy for people, like we're trying to do fitness easy for people like this. So I started following you.
love that.
So I started watching all your other videos, and it's like, hey, I like this. I really like this, how he's doing it and how he's delivering it. And I obviously learned more about your journey. So I think I'm going to start with the question of, let's talk about your social media journey, because I think a lot of people can learn and benefit from this. So I believe just over a year ago, you had almost 0 followers. And then fast forward to today, you're up 100,000 plus. So let's just talk about your lessons and what you've learned along the way and how it felt at the start and how it feels now. Is that a good enough question?
Yeah. So just an FYI, last year at this time, I just saw a video come up. TikTok emailed me being like, "Hey, a year ago, this is the video you posted," and I watched it. Because I'm curious, just be like, how much worse was the video a year ago? And it was me talking about like, I don't care if I, have 100,000 followers. Right now, I only have 500 followers, and that was a year ago. So that was April
Wow.
1st, 2023. I had
Boom.
500
Wow.
followers. And now it's up to, I think, 171,000 I checked this
Yeah.
morning, which is
Amazing.
absolutely bonkers. I'm like, how many people want to know about SEO? I guess that many people, and hopefully more. So with saying all of that, I forgot your initial question. I
No,
completely ignored everything that you said.
it's right. No, that's perfect. So that gives people an idea of like where you were a year ago to where you
Yeah.
are now. So the
So
question was that what have you learned along the way? What was the thing? What were you doing at the start that you changed? And what was that? What was the change and the shift that went you to go to thousands followers plus? What was the shift? What was the change in how you did the
yeah.
videos or what you did differently?
So I think I need to take a step back and say why I was making
Yeah, yeah.
videos and like why I started doing all of that, and then I'll get into what I learned and what that
Cool.
shift was. So initially, like as I kind of alluded to earlier, I've been a referral business. My agency, HeyTony, we've been a referral business since 2018, and with that, there's really high highs. If you get a lot of referrals, then you panic and you have to freak out. Then the lows, when clients drop off, you finish projects, you don't have new stuff coming in. And I was just getting tired of constantly dealing with that. Like you'd be like, okay, I'm so rich this month, this is great, and then the next month you're like, okay, we got to make sure, is that on sale this week, at the grocery store, we need to make sure we're doing, like, maybe let's not eat as much, like, can this meal be 2 meals? Anyways, so I was a referral business, and like even personally, like I didn't use social media. I hadn't posted on social media in like 5 years. But like I helped clients with like their Facebook ads or Instagram ads, stuff like that. So like I knew how to create all this stuff. I used to do like a YouTube show back in the day. It's not online anymore. It's really like not great content, but I learned how to do video editing and all that kind of stuff. So I already had all the skill set to do this, which you don't actually really need because I'll get into this a bit later, but my wife is like killing it on Instagram right now, and she didn't do any of the stuff that I did. So it's very, very easy to do video editing and all that stuff right from your phone, like on Instagram or on TikTok. So that's kind of the reason why I started posting every day. But I had actually read 2 books early in like January of 2023. One was called The One Thing, and to sum up the
Great book.
entire book, it's like, what's one thing that you can do every single day to achieve your 1 year, 5 year, 10 year goal, whatever that goal is. You need to keep contributing to it in small increments. And for me, I was like, one thing that I could do every single day, like I can post a video and like help educate people on how to do SEO. And at the time I had read,
Nice.
I'm sure you guys all know who Gary V is, Gary Vaynerchuk. I
Yeah.
read his book called Jab, 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 Right Hook, and it's all about social media content. And I was like, cool, free, 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 free. And then finally, when I'm ready, I can, hit them with the right hook and sell them something. I don't know what that something is going to be yet, but I could sell people something. So anyways, I started posting every day in, I think it was like January 13th or 14th or something, 2023. And then for 6 months, I was posting every single day. And about 3 months in, I started posting 3 times every single day, videos that I recorded on my phone. Yeah, it was a lot. Business was really, really slow at the time. So I had all this extra time and I'm like, I need to fill it. I need to do that one thing every single day. So 6 months, I posted about 300 videos on Instagram, and I posted the same content on TikTok as well. And nothing. I was getting like, I think I grew from 0 to 1,500 followers during that time, which 1,500 followers is nothing to sneeze at. That's like, people make big businesses out of 1,500 followers. And then it was like early June, I had one video start taking off. I woke up in the morning. I was like, Allie's my wife. Allie, I'm at like 5,000 followers now. This is insane. Like, what is happening? And I look at the video stats and it's like going up a couple 100,000. I'm like, this is incredible. My entire goal with doing this is I just wanted to be the biggest person in my city in digital marketing. Like I wanted that clout, so I could have that trust and authority kind of thing locally. And then that same week, a second video that I did just hit the algorithm, and people liked it and started watching it. And I think between those two videos, it was like 2-3 million views, in total.
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
holy, and I grew to like 15,000 followers. And I was like, that's it. I'm famous. This is awesome. Like I've made it on Instagram. I figured it out.
Mic drop. I'm done.
Yeah. And that was 1,500 or 15,000 followers in, that I got within that month of June, I think. And then from there, I was just like, let's just see how big we can, blow up this balloon. And by the end of 2023, I had just hit the 100,000 follower mark on Instagram. And I was like, this is insane. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself. And now I'm at, that we're filming this April 2nd. I don't know if you want the timestamp on this, filming this April 2nd, but it's 170,000 followers. And like, I don't answer my phone anymore. My number's on Instagram, my email's on Instagram. Like I might take it off. I don't know if I should or not, but I don't answer my phone. People text me like every single day. I get 5 to 10 inquiries every single day through the form on my website. And I'm not even pushing people to work with us. I'm legit just straight up educating people about SEO and digital marketing on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. And people are going out of their way, Googling us, typing in or going to our contact page and filling it out and saying, we want to work with you. Here's their budget. And like, we have a waiting list for the next couple months. It's absolutely insane. And, it's great. I love that. We're no longer a referral business, which is great. And if I want to take on more clients, I could hire more staff. But again, as I was saying, I don't think I want to necessarily do that because I want to be able to service the clients that we have as best as possible and actually help them get tangible results. So one of the things that I realized, I think this is going back to your question. One of the things that I realized with Instagram and creating content is that you can't just you should post the worst thing that you ever could, because everybody needs to start somewhere. Like if you scroll back on my Instagram, there's like 700 videos at this point. Scroll back and watch the first video. For the first 300 videos I did, they are terrible. And the reason why I started doing 3 every single day is because I was like, that learning curve, I wanted to cut that learning curve, like the time for me to get from here, like the start to, where I actually get it. I wanted to cut that time as short as possible. So that's why I was doing 3 a day. And it really got me better at coming up with ideas, at recording, at editing, at posting. Should I use hashtags? Should I not use hashtags? All this kind of stuff. And then it was basically, I had figured this out early on, but I just didn't realize it because I'm dumb. That like the format that ended up working for me, I think I did a video in that format like week 3 of me doing these videos, and I posted on TikTok and I got a lot of views on TikTok. But I was like, this is about AI. It's not necessarily about SEO. Like I don't want those kind of followers. So I stopped doing that style of video. But that style of video actually really works well with SEO and what I was doing. And it's basically like the style of video was, hey, if you want to show up higher on Google, but you don't have any, money or time, just do this. And then I actually take my phone out and record my computer screen, like very lo-fi, like low quality shit. And those are the videos that have performed the best for me. And I was like, okay, I just need to do more of that. And then I think I overdid it on that. And now people don't watch those videos as much. But yeah, it's that's one of the things that I learned is like, find what works for you. And like the quickest way to find that is by posting as much content as you possibly can on a daily basis. I say as you possibly can. 2 to 3 reels per day is like where I would limit that at. I've tried doing 5 a day. And that's just like, one, it's not sustainable. There's burnout. You run out of ideas really quickly. And, the algorithms don't like if you're posting 100 posts a day on Instagram, nothing's going to do well. Right. But if you post 2 or 3 posts a day on Instagram, you leave 4 or 5 hours between those posts. I haven't seen it really impact the algorithm negatively in that way. Yeah.
Well, that's what Neil Patel said. Their study came out, didn't it? It said 1 to 2 posts a day on Instagram, leaving at least 5 to 8 hours apart. That's what they said. So that's great. Well, there's so much to unpack on that little bit. So first of all, I'm going to go back to just very simple, right? You said that you're basically creating awareness on social media, but people are Googling you and going to your website to fill out the form, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make this very clear to a lot of people out there, particularly in the world of health and fitness, who still believe they don't need a website. what we're seeing is time and time again in the health and fitness spaces, they want to create a social media profile, but they have nothing for them to go to. So Instagram, TikTok, they want to keep you on their platform. They don't want to take you anywhere else, am I right? They want to keep you on their platform. So therefore, the user journey is awareness on social media. They then go to Google to find and learn more about you. And if you don't appear on Google, well, there's nowhere for them to go. So that journey is broken. Is that about right? Kind of what you're seeing your end?
Yeah, and I do see it with a lot of people. So I'm part of a group of a bunch of Canadian creators on Instagram, and a lot of them don't necessarily have a website. They're like, I'm just making money on brand deals. I'm like, do you have an email list? Are you, showing up on Google? Like, do you have your own ecosystem? They're like, no, how do I do that? What is that? And I'm like, okay, so, you could start with something simple like Squarespace or Wix and like throw up a website within a couple hours, at least here's about me. Here's what we do. Here's the services or the products I sell, and case studies, or, you could even showcase some of your videos there. But yeah, a lot of people are just like, yeah, I'm just going to do something on social media. I'm not going to think about a website. I'm not going to go further that way. And one of the things that I'm seeing is like every month I'm getting hundreds, if not thousands of people searching HeyTony, my agency name, and coming through, clicking on our website and filling out that contact form. And again, I'm not posting that link anywhere on social media. I'm not telling people go to my website, right? It's really insane. And I think one of the things that does for Google is it shows that you're a legitimate business, because people are looking up a specific name and you're coming up for that name. And if they're clicking through, Google's like, oh, these guys must be, a legitimate business, and we should maybe drive more traffic there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love
Yeah,
it. Dude, I love it. I think it's what we're trying to teach a lot of the guys now, because it's how I've grown up in marketing my business. Like if you Google athleticism in the search engines, we come up top, right below the dictionary definition. You type in athlete performance period, we come up top. Rowing train, we've got like 20 articles which rank number one, that drive all our hits every month that we're getting leads in. Now we're changing Strength Matters to be more digital marketing, so we're redeveloping that side of things, but we're taking what we learned to applying it to our sister company, Cricket Matters, which we're launching again. And like I said, do you know what we did? We built a crappy little website last year as a test pilot. I did it in the morning, 2 hours. We ranked for 8 blog posts, number one, that gets most of our hits. And I went, okay, now I need to take it seriously. So I'm literally redeveloping it in WordPress at the moment to have it properly done, get the speed up, and go after it in a big way in terms of blogs, because that's what we're going to do. But the key thing is always going back to this. You need a website, you need a presence on Google to be a legitimate business. All these influencers we're seeing on social media are just influencers. In 5-10 years' time, they haven't got a legit business, because things could change. They could be kicked off of Instagram, TikTok. I've seen it all happen in the past. So we're going back to the start.
I was going to say, even right now with TikTok being banned potentially in the US, like it seems imminent, like it's going to happen. Like, I think there was some study that's like there's 1.5 million businesses, or it's probably more, that rely on TikTok to drive their revenues. And I'm like, how have you not started an email list? How have you not got people like to your website? It's really kind of like the first thing that I did, like when I started posting, I was like, I need to have something for people to sign up to my email list, because if all this goes away, like I want to make sure that I'm, safe and I can still run a business. And unfortunately, and I know we're talking about a lot of different things here, obviously like showing up on Google, having a website, social media, but then also like email marketing. As much as that seems like an old school way to do things, it is the highest, I believe it's the highest converting marketing platform that you can use.
$36 to every $1 spent. That's what
we just did a podcast about that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did a few months ago. Yeah.
And guess what? If you have a social media following and you're doing stuff organically, it cost me $0 to build my email list. Right. So it's literally, it's not 1 to 36, it's 0 to however much. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's cool because it's just not just that on organically, it's the fact of all your blog posts potentially as well. So if all that stuff coming here, and this is what we're trying to educate, and this is why we brought you onto the show, is to tell the world, look, this is a real business that's applying real business tactics in terms of SEO. This is how it's grown, and they're using social media with Google to accelerate their business. He's got a waiting list, for God damn it. People listen to him. He has a waiting list. He has 5-10 inquiries a day to work with him. And this is a good example. So we want to learn from what the best of people are doing outside of health and fitness so we can apply it to the health and fitness business world.
Yeah.
And Matt's a really good example of this. Fantastic example.
Thank you. I just also wanted to mention that, as an SEO person, I'd never really done my SEO until I think about 2 years ago. I was talking to a buddy who started working for like another SEO company. I was like, how do they get all their inquiries? Like, where do they come from? And he's like, oh, they get them all organically from blogs. They don't run any ads and they get inquiries every single day. And I was like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I've never done SEO for myself. We've only just been doing it for our clients. So I really doubled down. I was like, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going to start doing my own SEO. We're going to start writing blogs. We're going to optimize our website, get backlinks, that whole thing. And now when like every person I talk to, like inquiry, I'm like, how did you hear about us? And more, I'm always expecting from Instagram because that's where it's been coming from. But people are like, oh, what videos? What are you talking about? Like, no, we found you on Google. Like, we're down the street. And I'm like, yes. Oh, okay. And that has really started picking up. So you have to kind of fire on all engines, on all cylinders, engines. What's the
cylinders, engines, whatever.
Yeah, fire on all fours. If that makes any sense. Where it's like, if you want a sustainable business, it's not just SEO or social media or email marketing. It's kind of a combination of everything. And I know that sounds very overwhelming. You don't need to start with everything. Start with one thing. But yeah, at the end of the day, like Google does an algorithm update, and for some reason you were doing something shady that Google didn't like, your SEO is gone, right? Same thing with Instagram. They do an algorithm update. All of a sudden, the videos that used to hit are no longer getting views. You're not getting any more followers. Then your business slows down. But if you're doing, if you're on multiple platforms, if you're doing SEO, if you're doing social media, email marketing, or even running ads, like you're going to have a more sustainable business regardless of the industry that you're in.
That's really sound advice. God, there's so many things I'm going to dive down here now. But I'm going to quickly go back to the social media stuff. What was the video that took off, and what did you do differently so people can learn from that?
Oh my God, I don't even remember which actual video it was because, like, again, I've posted like over 700, maybe 750 videos in the last year, and I actually have to go back. I'm like, did I talk about this topic? And then I'll realize I'm like, oh, I already did this exact same video, almost with the exact same wording, and I forgot about it.
Do you think it was partly consistency, Matt? Do you reckon consistency in posting?
The consistency is more for you as a person and not so much for the algorithm, I'm finding. Okay. It's if I can be in the top of somebody's feed every single day, every single morning, when they open their phone for the first time, that's going to have a lot more weight in terms of like recognition and trustworthiness and authority, right? And then they'll be like, oh, I know this guy. I'm going to like his video before they even start watching it, right? I'm sure we're all like that. If something comes up from a creator on Instagram, you're like, I know I'm going to like this video, so I'm just going to like it right away. And then you watch the video. So in terms of the one video, I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something like off the cuff. Like it wasn't something that I like rehearsed or scripted. I was just like, yeah, this seems like a good idea. I'm just going to do it. And I did that a lot until I think it was like mid-November or November of last year. So 6 months ago, basically at this point. And then I started like scripting a hook for the video. So a reason for people to keep watching, something that had some kind of stakes or a promise that would be delivered towards the end of the video. And some of those videos, have gotten millions of views. Some get like 20,000, 30,000 views, which is a lot. A year ago, I'd have been like 20,000 views. Like I'm like rich. That's awesome. But now I'm like, it only got 20,000 views. So your perspective changes, right? As it does when your business grows, 20 grand used to be a lot more money than it is now because I have to spend that on, menial things every single month. But yeah, I guess just think going back to your question about the consistency, it's like, it's developing that habit or that discipline of doing it every single day. And it doesn't feel like it's a big thing every single day because you already have that habit. You already have a process or, that you're doing. I think that like the same thing with SEO. Like if you're blogging every day, or if you're working on a blog post, say you're doing one a week and you're just working on it every single day, 5-10 minutes here or like half an hour here or there, you're gonna have a really great piece of content at the end of the week, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. Cool. I like that. So that leads nicely from you bringing in the blog comment there now. So okay, let's digress and move into the world of SEO again. Search engine optimization here now. So we're talking about social media because that's a great learning curve. Because I'll be honest, we're in a similar position now because you inspired me to start posting because we hadn't posted for years, and then I've started doing little videos. I was in Istanbul, Athens, posting little talking head videos. And I'm getting views of between 500 to 2,500 at the moment. We've got 20,000 followers, but we're trying to work out because a lot of it is kind of like maybe old followers that we used to follow us before that we didn't, because we didn't post for 4 years. So we're trying to re-engage.
You didn't engage them, yeah.
So, and that's our fault. And because we didn't need to, because we had SEO doing all the stuff for us. But then we've gone, no, we need to have a multi-dimensional approach now. And so I'm trying to figure out what works now. So we're using a simple either iPhone or my Pocket Osmo 3 to record a video. It's all talking head because I think at the moment I'm engaging with more videos with people who are being real, not these scripted. I can see all these AI scripted stuff at the moment, and I can flick through them. So I'm trying to be as engaging as possible with a little bit of B-roll. That's all I'm trying to do.
So James, I'll let you in on a little secret. Almost all the videos I do are scripted, although it doesn't seem like it. Right, like it's like a loose script. It's like, here's the first line I'm going to say, and that like there's a lot of cuts in the videos, right? Sometimes it zooms in and it's like, oh, he's just emphasizing the point. No, that's a whole different take. You know what I mean?
Interesting. That's because obviously that's because I have an idea in my head. And I think, right, okay, what's what I'm going to do? But maybe it becomes more scripted. But when I say scripted, what you see is, everyone's copying Alex Hormozi. That's probably a good example.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the same style, so you don't see what's going on here now, whereas yours give value straight away. That's what I find. It goes, right, hey, you want to do this, do this, do this, do this. Yeah. Oh, cool, great, I'll go and try it. That's kind of tend the differences, I think.
Yeah, so one thing that I will say that I've noticed about the algorithm lately in the last like 4, 5, 6 months is they're really favoring videos that are getting higher average watch times and then higher average like watch percentage and actual time. So those are two different metrics. I know that it sounds that like they're the same, but let's say you have a 30-second video, and people are watching for an average of 15 seconds, right? That's a 50% watch time. Yeah. Anything to me over 50%, I'm like, the algorithm likes that and they're going to push that way more. And I've seen that with the videos that I have over 1 million views or a couple million views. That's what the algorithm wants. Wow. It sounds really easy, like, oh, all you need to do is keep people watching for 15 seconds out of 30.
It's not.
But that is an eternity, my friend. Getting people to like, I know the formula, I know how to do it, but sometimes the value's just not there for people. And the promise that you made at the beginning of the video, like, I'm going to show you how to show up higher on Google. That's the promise. And by the end of the video, you need to deliver on that promise. But sometimes there's like multiple steps, people get lost and all that stuff. So they're really favoring watch time right now, and that's replays gold. As well.
That's gold.
What's your average video time length, Matt?
What's that?
What's your average video length?
I'm messing around with a bunch of different times. So like I'll go as short as like 15 seconds, okay. And then 30 seconds is kind of where I want to be. And then sometimes it's like closer to a minute long. Like I actually had a video that was like a minute long last year go like millions of views viral, which is crazy. Like I kept people watching that long.
That's awesome because there are people who want that content to learn. So you're giving them step-by-step plays. The one videos I get over, which I've told Josh and Andrew this, who works for us behind the scenes, that last year when I started building these websites for people, and we had people coming to us with websites that had spent $10,000, $15,000 on, and they weren't working. And I go, okay, cool, let me have a look at it. And the first thing I find is that they haven't got Google Analytics installed and they're not in Google Search Console. That to me blew my tiny little mind. Why are web designers and developers and people around the world not doing that automatically? Is it me? Are you seeing that across the board as well? Or is like, I'm finding it, every fitness professional I speak to pretty much does not have Google Search Console installed.
I mean, a lot of the time, most of the time they have Google Search Console installed, but at the same time, like that's not going to hurt your rankings. Like on Google.
Yeah.
Even if you have a Search Console, Google Search Console account set up, which anybody listening or watching, I don't know, is this a video too?
Yeah.
Anybody hearing this, if you just sign up with Google Search Console, which is the way that Google, it basically gives you all the stats on your website. Like, here's the keywords you're ranking for, here's what's doing well, here's what's not doing well. Even if you just sign up there and you don't submit a sitemap, for example, like Google still knows about your website. Like, and I've seen that with clients, like even my own wife's website, like we're starting to do her SEO. She's a wedding photographer. And she's like, hey, what's going on with my SEO? Like, are you guys going to start soon? I'm like, yeah. Okay. We'll help you.
Pay us first.
Yeah. I'm like, we live together, pay me. So I set up her Google Search Console and everything, like, a year ago, and she was still building her website. So I never submitted a sitemap, but now she's still ranking for stuff. You know what I mean? Like, submitting the sitemap is a way basically for Google to easily find all the pages on your website. But if you're already doing like a crazy good internal linking strategy where that's just linking from one page to your site or on your site to another page on your site. If you're doing that well, you don't really need to submit a sitemap, I'm finding, which like you should still submit a sitemap, especially if you're a brand new website. But yeah, there's a lot of things that Google tells us, like, don't do this or do this, that aren't correct. They're basically gaslighting us at that point.
It's interesting you say that, because like I said, it's like, because we see that. So internal linking for guys, that's a whole nother topic, because again, a lot of what we see in the world of health and fitness, they believe blogging is dead. They generally believe blogging is dead. You shouldn't be blogging. And
oh my God, yeah.
Genuinely. So this is another thing I'm going to bring up now in a second, because we see blogs as a huge thing. So when we're talking about health and fitness, they all think videos, Instagram influencers, all that type of crap. But what we're seeing is, when we're seeing a website, you're right, we're seeing no Google Search Console, no sitemap. For those who don't want to know what a sitemap is, it's a crazy technical term that we use to help Google find you. And then there's zero internal linking. We're talking bare bones. If you went to the average Google personal trainer in Hamilton, dude, where you live, right? See the websites that pop up, and you'll see how terrible linking there is. There's no H1, H2. There's nothing of these tags.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's an open kettle of fish. So we see the biggest gains that fitness professionals can make is you can get to the top of Google very quickly by creating helpful content that Google likes and being found in Google by Search Console, internal linking, and all these different things, which you can do for free, essentially, right?
Yeah.
But they don't do it. They don't do it. They get overwhelmed by it.
They don't know that they need to do it, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big thing as well. Like, that's why I'm doing all this educational content, and like not just educational, but like how-to content, basically. Showing people like, here's why a heading 1 tag is important, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically just the biggest text on your page, or it's usually the biggest text at the very top of your page that tells you what the page is about. But yeah, like, they're not doing that stuff. They don't know. And then and like SEO tools are also very expensive, right?
Yeah.
And I love using SEMrush. I forget who it was. I saw a video. It was like, SEMrush is so cheap. It's such a cheap tool. I can't believe everybody's not using it. I'm like, it's $129 USD per month. And like, it makes sense for us to use, like, and that's per user, right? So like, we're servicing a bunch of clients. My team uses it. I'm spending like thousands of dollars with this company per month, which is a lot of money. But for like a mom and pop shop down the street who's trying to show up higher on Google because they know the value of it, $129 is like, difference between rent or not rent in a lot of cases, right? Or like eating and not eating. And I just want to, what you were saying about the blog posting aspect, where it's like, it's still, people are saying that it's not relevant anymore. Google doesn't want that. They're all wrong. I get those comments on Instagram and TikTok all the time, like, you're an idiot. This is from like 2012, this strategy.
I see them.
And and I'm like, well, okay, well, come talk to our clients who are getting, tens of thousands of visitors per month to their websites, and who are getting more business as a result. Talk to them. Well, I'm not going to give up any of our clients like contact info, but like, it actually still works. And the reason why it still works is because, well, there's a number of things, but if you can get people to your website, just in general, from blog posts, I don't care what the topic is, as long as it's relevant to your niche or your industry. If you're getting a lot of people to your website and they're staying there and they're browsing multiple pages, that signals to Google like, hey, these people have useful information, and that kind of like raises the level of where you're at in terms of, you know, ranking and like as a website in general. And we've been doing tests with my own website recently, HeyTony.ca. Not that I need anybody or want anybody to go there because we're getting a ton of traffic. But if you want to see what we're doing, you can go there, just HeyTony.ca, and look at the blog posts. And so I haven't touched our page that is about search engine optimization services. Like that's what we do. I haven't touched that page, or our Google Ads expert page. I haven't touched those pages in like maybe a year, and they weren't ranking well. And I just like honestly was ignoring them, forgot about them, whatever. But I have my team writing blog posts every week on our website, and we're using internal linking to link to those pages from blog posts, and we're using words like Google Ad Experts Hamilton, right, and linking to that page. So that's giving Google some context as to what that page is about. Now, at least I'm probably going to kick myself for saying this, but at least at the time of recording, we're ranking number one for a lot of these terms that we didn't even touch those pages, right? It's all coming from blog post traffic, using that internal linking. And then also, once your site's getting a certain amount of traffic, that gives Google a little bit more trust and gives more credibility to your website in Google's eyes. So that raises kind of like, all ships rise with the tide kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's actually insane. And like, this is a year-long experiment we've been doing, and it's really working out. So if anybody who says blogging is dead, blogging doesn't work, is a strategy from 2007, they're wrong. And it's good that they think that, because that just leaves room for you to show up higher in the search results.
I love it. I love it. And I love the haters. I do see the comments, which make me laugh half the time. But like, it's the other ones I see is not just the comments of the haters saying it's 2007. It's like the SEO experts to get mad at you for posting some of this stuff, saying it's like the secret source or something like that. It's like, look, there's two types of people: the people who will go and do it themselves, and the vast majority of them who will not do it themselves, who will ask you for help. So there's far more people like that. It's like a done with you service or done for you service. And most people want a done for you service because they haven't got time for all this stuff. So I think it's a brilliant way of posting this stuff, because you're going, hey, cool, look at this stuff. It works. But I love it. But it's true. Josh, see, it's not just me telling everyone about this. Do you notice this?
Come on, Josh.
You see this?
I believe you. I'm there.
It is. It's like, but we're trying to just, like I said, our goal is to try and not just legitimize what we're trying to say and do, but it's to bring you on to show a real life case study of how you combine SEO with social media growth and how it leads to people banging down your door to do business with you. And it's not stopping anytime soon. I'm sure of it, because the more you grow, the more people who find you, the more Google loves you and puts you more, the more blog posts you write. It's an ever-evolving sequence. Now, the other thing I want to say is what do you think comes first, SEO or social media? Now, what we see a lot of people is that they feel burnt out, overwhelmed at the idea of posting content every day on social media. Now, obviously, blog posts for some people can be an overwhelming thing because it takes a long time to write for the first time. Chicken or the egg, where would you suggest somebody starting out with trying to get their website or their business found, where would you suggest they go first, and where should they start?
So the first thing that I would do is build a website. You don't need to optimize the website necessarily, but have a home base, right? If, let's go back like 30, 40 years ago, you had a physical location for your business and you had a sign out front. That is your website today. If you don't have a physical location / website, then nobody's going to be able to find you. So first thing, set up shop, use, and this might be a terrible analogy, but 30, 40 years ago, you can't afford a sign, you paint on the side of the brick, right? This is, my business. This is what we do. That's the same thing with having a website. Build a website, use Squarespace, Wix, whatever it is. Does not need to look like the absolute best thing in the world, but you need a home base, right? And you can improve it with time. And that's what I love about digital, is like nothing is permanent. You can continue to grow and refine and redesign and redo and optimize. It's great. So start with a website. And then social media, like I'm kind of biased because like I never did social media for my business, and I saw a lot of businesses doing shitty social media. And I really dislike social media marketing agencies, because I'm like, this is such a scam. A lot of times, like I did some of that early on in my career for big companies, and like, it was fun and I had a lot of freedom, creative freedom to do some stuff. So the creative was good. But there's a lot of companies that's like, oh, well, you need the perfect branding. You need to use our colors and our logos and this and that. And you can't say certain things. And I'm like, why? Like, if you go on, any influencer or like big brand social media, their stuff is like not cohesive. Look at their feed. It's just like all over the place because the feed doesn't matter. People are seeing one video at a time. And at least for me, and like probably most of the people listening here, if they're personal trainers, like you are your brand, right? Regardless if you have employees or a shop or whatever, like you are your brand, and it's becoming more and more, individual focused as like the brand face or brand voice. And every single piece of content that has my face in it, regardless if it has the background that I have now, or if it's green screen, or if I'm like walking on the street, it's recognizable, right? I can wear a different t-shirt color. It doesn't have to be a black t-shirt like I wear all the time. You know what I mean? It could be a yellow one. And actually, one time I wore a red t-shirt and people were like, whoa, red t-shirt today. Where's the black t-shirt? So yeah, the whole brand thing, like, I know we're not really talking about branding, but like that is a huge thing, like a huge sticking point for a lot of companies, especially entrepreneurs. Like, oh, I want to be professional. I want to have like all my branding together and this and that. I'm like right now I'm writing a book and they're like, what fonts do you want to use? You want to use the same fonts on your website? I'm like, I don't care what fonts we use as long as it's readable and it looks good. And they're like, okay, great. Do you want to use your colors on your website? I'm like, I don't really care. Like it doesn't like branding doesn't matter as much as people think it does. I mean, I'm going to get probably a lot of hate for saying that from some branding agencies and some other businesses, but at the end of the day, like in my opinion, branding doesn't matter as much for like a local, smaller business. So when I say small business, I mean like anybody under like $5-10 million a year, right?
That's a lot of money for people. That's a lot of money for some people.
That's huge.
Life changing.
Yeah, well, I talked to a guy recently. He just, again, I don't always answer my phone, but this guy got through, and he's like, how much? He's like, do you work with small businesses? And I was like, yeah, like that's like where I love helping small businesses. That's why I started this agency, to improve people's lives through SEO, which I know sounds like a weird thing to say, but that's my goal. So, anyways, this guy, he's like, well, how much do you charge? So I tell him, he's like, how the hell can anybody afford that? That's not working with small businesses. You're working with like large businesses to be able to charge that kind of money. And I'm like, no, well, like, a small business is anybody making $0 to, I think it's up to, in some industries, like $40 million a year, which like, I agree, that's not necessarily a small business. But like, if you're making $2 to $5 million a year, you're not like, you're likely not rich in terms of, because that's revenue, that's not even expenses. And he was like, I'm a small business. I can't afford, a couple $1,000s a month to pay you to do this stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like we need money to do the work. Like we're not over here driving around in Ferraris. Like, I mean, I wish maybe one day, but yet. But yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome, cool. There's so many ways. Matt, we'll have to get you back on the show at some time. I think this is brilliant. I can geek out so much. Josh is probably going to tell me now.
I was just waiting for you to geek out some more, to be honest, James.
It's great.
With your technical terms and stuff.
Oh, my technical terms. I know. I'm so sorry. It is. It's mind blowing to me, and it's fascinating. It's really good to hear other people see this and legitimize this, but also express it in a very simple way that everyone can understand. Because, like I said, I follow a lot of SEO experts and website experts online. Half the time, I don't understand them. And if I don't understand them, I guarantee that most of our clients, people will not understand them either. So it's about finding the balance to try and explain and convey it. So what we're trying to say is the lessons you can learn from today is this. You need a website. You need to be able to have a home base for that. You need to create some blogs to be helpful, to link to the home base and the services you offer. And then you drive traffic through whatever means. It could be social media. It could be a networking event I just went to in Croatia and then Serbia. Like literally, I had a phone call this morning from a guy in Croatia who went to that event, and he Googled me afterwards and booked the call in. And that's how it happens. It just traffic comes from a variety of sources: networking, referrals, social media, Google. You've got to manage all of them, but all roads lead to Rome, as I keep saying, and that is back to your website. And that is pretty much what we've kind of said today. So
well said. Well said.
I love it. This is great. Matt, will you come back on the show again, please? We can geek out some more.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Woo.
I'll talk
like
every Tuesday at 10 a.m. my time for sure.
Yes, I love it. Let's do it.
Nice.
Standing podcast.
Josh, you had some questions written down. I have no idea what you wanted to ask.
To be honest, I think we need to get Matt back on if he's happy to come on, because I did have some questions, but I've not had time to go through any of them, so we will save them for another time.
We could save them. I also I'm just looking at my next appointment's in 25 minutes, so I can we can chat a little bit longer if you guys want to. If you don't, we can definitely jump back on.
Just save it for next time.
We've got some great stuff. Let's save it for next time. Matt, we'll definitely get you back on. That we'd love to. But before we do sign off, mate, could you give out your social media type handles and where people can find you?
Oh my God. I need to actually check.
He's now going to have to look
Instagram...
at this.
I need to check what my Instagram handle is.
Instrumental music while he finds it.
No, I got it up. You don't think I have Instagram open on my phone all the time? It's HeyTony.agency on Instagram, and I think on TikTok it's just HeyTony Agency or something. Every social network is you can use a period or not a period. So HeyTony.agency on Instagram, or you can just Google HeyTony.
Or just Google
Instagram,
HeyTony.
or HeyTony. Yeah, on it
Not that he wants any business, because he's already got enough. We just want to point that out.
No, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm not grateful. I'm very grateful, and I'm very appreciative of legit every inquiry we get. Not that we can help everybody, but it's I just love it. I love doing this stuff.
Dude, it's awesome. It's great to have you on. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you.
Guys.
James, thank you. Matt, thank you so much, and thank you guys for listening. Until next time.
Thank you for having me.